All right, hopefully our technology cooperates with us. I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible. First, I want you to know that by no means am I a tech-savvy guru. No way, no how. One of the things that I had to make sure that I did before the iPads got in you all's hand is to at least have a general understanding of how to utilize technology. What we want to make sure that each one of us understands is that technology is not something that you're just going to be doing every single day in your classroom. Specifically, if you have a school that does not have a lot of technology. They might not even have this lovely projector, and they might not even have a screen. So don't get too excited depending on where you're going to go, but get really pumped up and really excited if you yourself have some type of device. See how the people in the back are kind of cozy? So let's say, for example, you're in a school and you don't have a lot of technology. Now, anybody that has had the opportunity to take a class with me, and if the technology crashed, then we became a happy, cozy family. Hopefully, we all took a bath, we took a shower, and none of us were really smelly, because I would say everybody come close, come together, and we're going to be one happy family. So you might have to do that. What we want to make sure that we're doing is make sure you understand the difference between using technology and integrating technology. And one of the first things I would encourage everybody to do is to use Google. Why? Well, let's take a look at the screen here, because I can't even put the PowerPoint on here because Mozilla is not working. Mozilla and Internet Explorer suck. I'm going on the record saying that they just do, because they don't work with everything that you're trying to do on the internet. So the best thing for you to use is Google. Now, you might not like Google. You might say Google wants too much information. But if you want to make sure that your technology is readily available and you don't have issues like this and then you have to go to a backup plan, you want to make sure that on your laptop, on your desktop, you have Google loaded so you can use that browser instead of any other browser. That's one of the first things. The second thing, before you stand up in front of your students, you at least want to know how to turn the device on. And I'm being very serious, because some people get these things and they're like, oh my God, what do I do? So I'll use myself as an example. When we decided that we were going to do this, I was like so pumped up. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it in my class. So Dr. Agwanaga, myself, and Dr. Ray, we decided to write a grant so that we could get some iPads and utilizing them in the classroom, and to see if using technology enhanced the teaching and learning process. And basically what we discovered is that using technology does enhance the teaching and learning process. It does not replace the teaching and learning process. I want each one of you to know that. It does not replace. You, the human being, have to make sure that you understand the content that you're responsible for teaching and that you know how to teach it. Because if you don't, your students will eat you alive. Believe that. They will. I don't care if you're elementary, if you're middle school, if you're high school, because sometimes my early childhood people, you think just because they're little bitty people, they won't eat you up. But they will eat you up. They'll kick you, they'll hit you, and they'll do everything to you. So you want to make sure that you are prepared. So the first thing, when we're integrating technology, when we're integrating it, is planned. It has a purpose. Versus when we use it, we just, oh, I need to do a lesson today. Let me find some technology, where you're just running crazy and you don't have any idea what you want to do. So it's planned and it's purposeful. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a couple of apps, and some of them I just learned how to use today. That's what you do. You just go on and you just learn how to use them. So the first one I'm going to take you to, so I would like everyone to go to, and I do believe this one is working. If you have Educreations on your iPad. Now notice I have the iPad 2 here, and then in the back of the room that's doing the recording, that's the iPad Air. Now, some people get a little wishy-washy depending on what device you're using. If you have all of the apps on it, it's equivalent. Just don't get caught up in that. You just want to make sure that you have some technology so you can walk around and be cool, and you're not old-fashioned and you just have old technology that's just obsolete and doesn't work. So Educreations, as you see, these are two things that I made a year and a half ago, I had no idea what I was doing. That's the cool thing about technology. You go into Educreations and you have no idea what you're doing. So like I'm standing here and I was just like, okay, what do? I'm just going to press stuff because I don't know what I'm doing. And nobody was there to like help me, so I couldn't ask questions. So I had to use my mind and my brain and think critically on what do I need to do. So when you see this, you're going to say, this is not exciting, Dr. Smith. You should have known how to do this. But hey, I didn't know how to do it, so I just said, let me start from scratch and let's see what it does. So I just created this simple little Educreations, and I thought I was doing something totally cool.
To demonstrate how to use Educreations, let's pretend that we are working with the preschooler, kindergartner, and we're showing them how to add single digits using tally marks. Let's say our problem is 1 plus 1.
Pretty cool. You can write
Changing the color, we press the red, and we'll tell them to make a red apple, which is a circle, which is 1. And then make another red apple. And then just have them count the 2 reds, and 1 red and 2 reds equals 2. Going back to the problem, pressing black, 1 plus 1 equals 2. So the student will be able to see that using tally mark can help them with solving the math problem. That's how you use it.
Now, that wasn't really anything interesting and exciting, but when you're first learning how to use an app, hey, for me, it was interesting and exciting because I knew that I could press colors and I could change the colors. You can actually erase, you can actually write on it, and you can record. And whoa, what's cool about it now, you can import pictures, you can export it, you can do all kinds of cool stuff with this. So what I'm going to have you do right now is I'm going to have you get with a partner just in case you didn't bring your iPad. And we're going to take about 3 minutes, and I want you guys to just create something using Educreations. I don't care what it is. If you don't know how to use it, then you're going to be like Dr. Smith for a minute. You're just going to start pushing stuff until you figure out how to use it. But it's pretty simple. So let's take a couple of minutes to do that.
I'm really bad at that. I still won't want to. And I don't have to. I can't find it. This normally works. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Try. I have it on it. Yeah, can't go to the app store. Just like things. It's so easy. And then I see you as like that look.
Okay, that's our timer. So we can kind of share and look at what it is that we have created. So let's have a group kind of come to the front. Don't be shy. We're all going to be teachers here. So just somebody come to the front and just kind of volunteer kind of what it is that you did. Just tell us what you did and show us what you did, and you can talk about the whole thing. Do I have any volunteers? Okay, let's stop for a minute. One of the things that we want to keep in mind is that when we have the opportunity to share and work together, I would encourage you to share and work together. Because when you get in the classroom, a lot of the times, you're not going to have opportunities to share and work together. You're going to be alone in your classroom, and you're not even going to have the opportunity to work with the individuals that are across the hall from you or right next to you, unless you're doing PD. And 9 times out of 10, when you have PD, which is professional development, that professional development is going to be dictated by the district. And so if it's not a school building professional development that the school has gotten together to decide what they want, it's going to be dictated on how you grow and develop as a professional in education. So anytime an opportunity is presented to you, I would encourage you to not be scared to share, because again, I'm by far not a technology savvy person. I would call my 11-year-old nephew, and I'm not joking, 11 years old, he's in the 6th grade, and I will ask him to help me. And he will say, sure, TT, I'll help you. I'll just Skype him, I'm serious. I'll do a Google Hangout or whatever it is I need to do, or I'll actually go into TeamViewer if I'm on a computer and allow him to take over my computer so he can show me what it is that he needs to do. And I'm saying that to you because when you go out into the real world of education and you have a job as a teacher and you're looking for a job as a teacher, if you're not able to demonstrate this, because some school systems are not just going to want to see this on your resume, that you know how to integrate technology, they're going to ask you to teach a lesson and they want you to demonstrate how to use the technology. Because we have a number of school systems that are actually waiting on you all to graduate to help them show seasoned teachers how to integrate technology in the classroom, because we have a lot of teachers that are already in the classroom that don't know how to use the technology themselves, or they're fearful to use the technology as well. So as we're graduating, coming into the profession, we don't want to be fearful in using the technology. One of the coolest things, and you might not think it's cool, personally, I really don't care, and most people that know me, I say keep it real. I have real talk all the time with my students. I will stop in the middle of the lesson, and I'm not joking, and I will say, somebody help me. I will say, technology is janky. It's not acting right. I need some help. Can somebody come up here and help me? And they will help me if they know how to help me. If not, I'll go to plan B. However, it's going to be really, really important for you to not be scared to share. There is so much that you can do with this education. I can't tell you everything that you can do. I only know some of the things that you can do. And I think one of the problems that we run into when we talk about teaching, a lot of us, even seasoned veterans, you think you have to be all-knowing and all-wise and know everything. All you have to be is one-up on your student. And sometimes you don't even have to be one-up on your student. You just ask and you just say, I don't know what I'm doing, so on the low, can you hear me? And Lexi will say, I'm going to help you out, Dr. Smith. And then Lexi might tell her, you know Dr. Smith don't know what she's doing. But that's okay, though. Lexi is going to help me so that I can get acclimated. And at a point, we're going to work together to learn how to use the device. Because some of you are going to go into schools and this is all they use. They don't use pencil. They don't use paper. They don't have textbooks. They have devices, whether it's an iPad or a tablet. And everything that they do is on this device. So if you don't know how to use the device, and if you are scared to ask for assistance and just be willing to just mess up, you're not going to know how to use the device. That's what it's all about, learning how to use it. For example, back there on that tripod, it took me like 5 minutes to figure out when I just did a presentation last week with Teach for America. It took me like I'm serious. It took me 5 minutes to learn how to put the iShot thing to put the iPad on. And I'm just like, thing ain't moving right. But I was like, oh well, I'm gonna get it. And so I got it. And the other people didn't know what to do either. And I was like, it's too tight, but I figured it out. So again, it's trial and error and not being afraid to do it. Because what if your school gets a grant or something and you can get all of this technology, but you don't do anything with it? Because we do have schools that have a lot of technology and it's just sitting there because teachers are afraid to use it. We've got to be able to step outside of the box. I always tell people that. You want to be able to shine. You got to be like Mike Tyson, okay? When he was, I'm serious, I always use Mike Tyson as an example because Mike Tyson is a beast. If I was going to apply for a job, I'm knocking all y'all out the box. That's just real talk. You don't have a chance. You just don't have a chance because I'm claiming it. When I go in there, I'm going to shine. I'm going to be, good morning, how are you today? I'm Dr. Sean Smith. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to be here. This is great to be here. What would you like me to say? Would you like me to tell me about yourself? You got to be knowing it. You got to just do it. You can't be afraid. You can't because somebody else wants the same job that you want. And if you can't demonstrate your skill set and show that you're better than candidate A or candidate B, the job is going to go to candidate A or candidate B. So one way you can separate yourself is to utilize technology and integrate it into what it is that you're doing. So cool. You can do that. Cool. Use it as a strategy. Take it in there with you. You can use it for notes. Lexi just showed me about notability. I'm going to use that because I don't use notability. But you can do amazing things. Say, for example, they want to say, well, I want to, we don't have time today for you to teach a lesson. No problem. Would you like to see me teaching a lesson? I have a lesson here that I did with some kindergartners. And you can actually, boom, show them the lesson. And if they have Air Server or if they have Apple TV in the room for everybody to see, you can just put it up on the screen for everybody to see. Now, the next candidate might not have thought of that. Y'all better be taking these notes down. Dr. Smith, I'm giving you some good information. I'm for real. Some good information. We have a former school teacher in here, 2 former school teachers, 2 former administrators at the building level and at the central office level. So what I'm telling you is real. These are good tips to have. So you want to make sure that you have these tips so that you can use them because you want to outshine the other person. And technology is a must. Technology is not going away. We have to embrace it. I'm not saying that we have to love it, but we have to be able to use it in the classroom because your children that you're going to teach, they're using it. You're using it. Now, we might not be using it as far as educating, but we're all on social media. We're doing a lot of things on social media, and you can integrate social media into your classroom. While in the middle of you teaching, you can have your students send out hashtags about what you're teaching. You're doing something on the Civil War. I'm being very serious. Have them tweet about the Civil War. think. They're going to use social media anyway, so have them do it in the middle of you teaching. Have them put it on Facebook. They love World Star Hip Hop. Well, let's record something in the classroom and put it on World Star. So we're going to put some goodness on World Star because World Star has a lot of filthy stuff on it. So we want to infiltrate the filth with some goodness, okay? But get your kids involved and get yourself involved so that you can really start using this device for what it's worth. Because it's not just here for us just to go onto Twitter or go onto Facebook. Because we live on Facebook, and Facebook is not going to do anything for you as far as the teaching and learning process unless you take something from Facebook that you can integrate into your classroom. So again, when we have the opportunity to share and do it, I would encourage you to do it. Because my goal is not to stand in front of you for 30 minutes and talk. I can do that because I have the gift of gab, and it is not a problem. You can ask anybody that. I go all over the country and the world to speak. But tonight I want to make sure that you're engaged and you work together so that you can utilize some of the apps and see how you can use these in your classrooms. Because if we just hold on to these things and we don't do anything with them, it's not beneficial to us and it's not beneficial to the populations that we serve. Because our population is increasingly becoming more diverse, meaning they're way different than we are. They learn different than when we were in the classroom. You can't stand in front of them like I'm standing in front of you now and speak for 20, 30, 40 minutes because they're going to fall asleep. They're going to doze out. They're not going to be paying attention. So you have, just like this faded out. It's just like a computer. It fades out. So you got to implement different things to captivate and keep them engaged. So that's what it's all about, engagement. So since I didn't have anybody to come up and share what I would like to do, with you staying in your seats, I would just like each group, and I'll give you 60 seconds to do it if you haven't did it. I would like each group to share how you can use EduCreations in your classroom. Let's take 60 seconds to dialogue with the partner about how you can use it in your classroom, and then I'll ask each one of you to share how you can use it in your classroom.
My number one is either. I was just education has just changed. One of my studying, and I only know studying language arts, so I like pictures of like
Okay, if you can hear my voice, clap one time. Okay, we're going to start on this side of the room and just ask each group just to kind of share how you will use it in your classroom.
All right, Harry and I were thinking, since if you hit this little plus button in the top right corner, you can add pictures from your camera roll. So what we did was add a picture. I'm in Paris on the Lovelock Bridge, and so showing that students around the world pictures, maybe showing them, I know they kind of, if you show them a real life place and you've been there, it kind of changes their perception of just learning about it on the screen. So.
Exactly.
My name's Lauren and Kaylin, and we wanted to incorporate like a reading and writing lesson out of this. I guess just the writing. So we had like, we drew a picture and then we would make the students write what they see in the picture, what they would like incorporate with the picture. So we drew a picture of a sun and a tree, and the sentence could be like, I like to play outside.
Okay, good. Next group.
Well, we drew on it to see how, so we never actually used it. But then I know I played on it before, and if you go to featured lessons, they have all these little tabs, and they have all different lessons already made that are really cool. A bunch of subjects, and yeah.
Yep.
And they're really cool to watch if you need ideas or just, I guess, to use them yourself.
Okay. Any other back groups.
We said, sorry, if you, like, since most of us are early childhood back here, we said that, like, if you have a kid who's sick during the day, you can record yourself, like, teaching lessons so the parents can learn along also, because sometimes parents are confused. You can send it home with them, so then they're caught up on what they
That's a good idea. About top row groups. Or were you guys one
We've
group?
done more
One group. All right, let's go to the L shape of the table.
Well, we kind of did this in class before, but
Okay.
we did the 5
Components
components
of an effective reading instruction.
Okay.
And we drew the house,
Okay.
the logs, and how it's comprehension, it's supporting comprehension, fluency, phonics,
Okay.
vocabulary,
Good.
and funding words.
Good. All right. We get another group.
This is what, we made this in one of our classes
Okay.
as well, our assessment class. We were talking about progress monitoring.
Okay.
And so one thing you can do with this is, Miss Graham gave us some scores, so we graphed this on our own and then airdropped it to her. But she said that students like to graph their own progress, which makes them more eager to do better in
Okay.
school.
Great. What about the back two rows?
Well,
Okay.
Bailey actually uses this in her math class.
All right.
And she
Bailey.
uses it like a scratch pad.
Okay.
And so, like, rather than using like a bunch of notebook paper, she just writes it all on.
Okay. Good. All right. Let's move to this side of the room.
We said that especially for something like math, when you can spend the entire class going over questions from the homework, if you put the lesson online the night before, the kids can go ahead and learn it and do their homework, and then the next day you'll have more time to go over questions.
Okay. Good.
We said that it can like save paper and time so the teacher can have it ready, and also kids can work in on it and do it themselves.
Good. Ladies.
So yeah, with the little button in the top right hand corner, you can get the different papers, and this one is just a lot of paper.
Okay, cool. That's a great idea for them to practice their writing. That's awesome. That group?
Ours was kind of already said because we're switching it to like the graph paper and stuff to make like the math graphs and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to transition so we all have an idea of how we can utilize this, not just only in the classroom, but have it for homework or if somebody missed an assignment. Now let's move to another app called Socratic that you can utilize in the classroom as well. You can utilize it during your teaching, before your teaching, or after your teaching. So if you have Socratic, you want to click on the student app because I'm on the teacher app, and then you're just going to go to Dr. Shanta Smith. That's my room. So find Dr. Shanta Smith when it asks you to join the room. So the D is capital and both S's are capital. All right, so I'm just going to ask you a question as people log in. And what we have to remember too now, remember, depending on the bandwidth that you have, be patient because your technology, I say janky, okay? I like to code switch, okay? It's a little janky, meaning it might be a little slow. It might not be as fast as we think it should be. All right, so we're going to do a multiple choice question. So let's say I would like to know, is the president of Southeast Missouri State University A, Ken Dobbins, B, Robin Smith, C, Sharon Gunn, D, Shanta Smith, E, Julie Wright? Who would be the president? Did it do it? Two people. Oh, I have two people that responded. You can't see it up here. Let me, if I do it up here, because I'm doing it on my iPad. All right, see if you can do it now. Okay, see I got some people going in now. So what you'll be able to see on your screen as the instructor, you actually see your students answering the questions. So say, for example, you have a classroom of 20 or a classroom of 30, and you don't see all 30 students logged in, you might want to kind of do a walkthrough to kind of make sure everybody's where they need to be and say, if you haven't responded, can you please respond, because I want to make sure we're on the same page and everybody understands what it is that we're talking about. Then, so you're still continuing your instruction and going on. So let's move to a true false. Don't want to act right on her either. So true false. True false. Let's see. Our mascot is a bulldog. True or false? Again, it's janky. Let's see. Here we go. All right, there we go. So try again. So again, remember the technology might lag, but just take your time. And so again, it provides you with information so that you can see. So then we'll go to one more, and this is all during instruction. So, what is your name? What is your name? Now put it in here. I can type. What? If I can put my hands on the computer right, maybe I can type right. Still can't type right. That would be a skill you would want to be able to have. Alright, so you should be able to answer it now. So what is your name? You should be able to type your name in there, and it should come up in a minute. Okay? So again, you get to see what your students are doing on a consistent basis. So that's how you can utilize it during instruction. Now say you have come to the end of your class, and something that I do, I would encourage you to do this in your classroom. I know most of you don't like it, but again, you know me. It's not about what you like. It's about me making sure that you're going to be the best teacher. So I utilize real strategies and techniques that you can utilize in the classroom. Because some of you hate exit tickets, but I do them in every class session. All right, so you can do, after you finish this, you can just say finish. All right? And then if you want them to email you, download the report, however you want it, you can have them do that. But we're going to cancel. And we're going to go back to the dashboard so that I can give you an exit ticket. All right, and go. You now should see some questions. Have some questions popped up on your screen for those that are still in there, or does it say you're waiting on me? Okay. So, when you're taking the test, what's going to happen is you're going to put your name in there, and it's going to ask you a series of questions. And these is a simple exit ticket, but then you can plan your exit ticket as well. The cool thing about the exit ticket or any assignment that you're doing is once you get the student's name and stuff, once they're finished, you can have a spreadsheet sent to you so that you can get the results with their answers. So that's pretty cool, and that's why I like it. And I think it's a great thing for you to do because, again, you can utilize it during your teaching, while you're teaching. You can use it as an entrance slip and as an exit slip. And for people that don't like to waste paper, we're not killing any trees because we're using technology to help us with it. So one of the cool things that we want to make sure that we're doing when we're going to utilize technology in the classroom is you want to make sure that you're planning. Planning and preparation is very, very important. Specifically if you're going to be using some apps a lot. So one thing I would like everybody to do is just get like 1 or 2 apps that you really, really, really know how to work with and you really, really know how to use. Because we're not going to know how to use all of them, but you can kind of become an expert on 1 or 2 apps yourself and really utilize those apps to just drive that instruction and help you enhance what's going on in your classroom. So we're going to go to one more app. So look at all this. You can see everything, and it even gives you the progress and the percentages. So again, like I said, at the end, all you have to do is you click finish. Once we finish, and then you can make a decision. I'll say email, and I can email it in an Excel spreadsheet, and submit, and it's going to send it to you. It'll send it to your email, and then you'll get all of the results that you need. So now let's go to Haiku Deck. Haiku Deck. Haiku Deck. this computer is freezing, but I'll talk and walk and do it on my iPad. The cool thing I like about having multiple devices, if one freezes, you just pull up another one and you go with the flow. And if everybody has it in your classroom, you can work together. So Haiku Deck is a PowerPoint. But the cool thing about Haiku Deck is that you can't put a lot of words on the slide. So it helps you with your presentation skills. I like Haiku Deck because for those individuals that are a little shaky and you're trying to build that courage standing in front of people talking, Haiku Deck is going to force you to do that because you can only put so many words on the slide. Now with Haiku Deck, you can utilize the pictures that are already licensed within Haiku Deck, or you can upload your own pictures depending on what it is that you want to do. So one of the things that I do with my students in the class is that I use Haiku Deck for some of the class for summarizing what we learned in the lesson. So you can use it for that, or you can actually use it for presentation skills. So what I'm going to ask you to do again with your partner, and just make about 2 or 3 decks, so that's 3 slides, no more than that. And I kind of want you to tell us why you've made a decision to come into teaching as a team. As a team, work together. So you can either make 2 separate Haiku decks or just one person do it and you work together. But have at least 3 decks, and that's just slides. And make sure you utilize pictures that demonstrate children and or teaching. Just don't use blank blue, green, yellow. No, actually pick a picture, because what Haiku Deck is, it tries to bring your presentation alive with the pictures so that they'll just look at the picture and they'll listen to your beautiful voice as you present. Let's take about another 3 minutes and let's see if this unfroze. If not, I'll use the timer. There we go. It's working now. So you're just kind of working together, seeing what you can create. And again, you can implement text. You can actually have notes. There are a number of things that you can do and play around with it. And the cool thing, you can share it publicly. You can share it privately. So if you don't want all the world to see the Haiku Deck, then you just make it, it's not private, because private is only for you. I can't think of the word. But they have to have the link in order to see your Haiku Deck if you don't want everybody to see your Haiku Deck. Okay? So again, we're having some people are on and some people are off because of the internet. And while you're working, one thing that I always do, like this iPad that I have here, it has 4G on it as well. And then I have a hotspot myself. So if I'm ever somewhere and the Wi-Fi is janky, you see that's my favorite word for the day, janky. If the Wi-Fi is janky, I'll pull out my hotspot, or I'll just click the Wi-Fi off on here and connect to the 4G so I can utilize it. So that's something you might want to think about as well as you move and you progress. When you get to a new device, you might get one with 4G so you can have access to it in case you're somewhere where the Wi-Fi is not working the way you need it to work.
I like to play choose now so they can get a heavy one or not. Thank you. You're one of them. I'm not too busy, but I don't think I'm there.
Like I see around with different decks, and then I'll have other people share. So just playing around again, I just typed in the word clouds, and can't spell, but you get it. All right? When you go in, I'm just trying to show people how to use it. So I'm thinking about different types of clouds. So if I were to do a presentation on clouds, so today is a good day to talk about a quiet storm, because yesterday we actually had a storm. It was kind of humid, kind of hot, so when you look at the weather, you know a tornado is lurking in the air. So when you see the clouds in the sky looking like this, you might want to take cover. So see, I don't have all these words on the screen. I just look at the picture, and I start thinking, and I start speaking. So you use the picture to kind of help you with your words. Now also in here, if you look in there, it is a place where you can put notes. So if you want to have your iPad while you're presenting so you can look down, and the notes won't be on the screen for the people, it'll only be on your screen for you to see. So again, showing you again. So look at this cloud. Let's pretend we're in an airplane, and we just look out the window, and we're just like, oh, that just looks like a lovely marshmallow that I just want to touch, because it's so calm and it's so peaceful, and it just looks so smushy. So life's ultimate joy. So again, you can't put a lot of words on the slide, but it forces you to kind of talk and explain. I like using Haiku Deck too when we talk about creating a culturally responsive environment and utilizing a universal design for learning. So when we talk about multiple means of representation and multiple means of action and expression. So let's say, for example, we had a student in our classroom that was not good with writing, but they're very good with speaking. So you can use Haiku Deck to capitalize off that child's learning modality, because they're awesome when they speak. So they just might write a couple of words, and then whatever you just taught them, they can get up and stand in front of you, and you'll be like, oh my God, you did know what we were doing. You were paying attention. But they're just not at that place right now where they can write it down. So you can utilize this to work with those students that are more auditory than reading and writing. So that's another example. All right. Let's just have about 1 or 2 people just kind of share. Just 1 or 2 people just kind of share their Haiku Deck with us.
It never got loaded.
It never got to working?
Mine's not either.
Okay, so that's all right, because this can happen. You said yours worked? Well, it didn't work. Oh, okay. Would you like to share with us? She's in my class. That's why I'm picking on her. So, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, well, we only had 2 slides.
Okay, good.
Hang on a second. Can I just say here?
You can.
Okay, so our first one, we just said teaching, and we have chalkboard, just because that's the basic. And then we said one more, but we said to help children learn and help them learn like life skills, academic skills, social skills. It's a lot more than just academics.
Okay. So good. So again, that was like a 30-second pitch. So again, if you're having individuals summarize what they learned for the day, that's what I use it for summarizing, not just for presentation skills. So you're going to be looking at different apps and look at how those apps can enhance what it is that you're doing in your classroom. It does not replace teaching, and it does not replace you as a teacher. It enhances what you're doing in the classroom. But in order for it to enhance what it is that you're doing, you have to make sure that you know how to utilize that app or have a little knowledge. And remember, I said just lean on a friend. Just lean on it if you don't know what you're doing. Give you another example. I don't know if you knew that Mrs. Smith and I were twins. We just come from 2 different mothers. But we're from, we're twins. So, if there's something that I don't know how to do, because in my eyes, Ms. Smith is a tech guru. Now, she might not think she is a tech guru, but compared to me, I am still a baby, okay? I'm moving into the toddler phase, but my mama's still rocking me in her arms. So if I put this iPad, I'm still being rocked in her arms. And I would say that Mrs. Smith is an adolescent, or she might even be an adult when it comes to technology. So if there is something that I don't know, I just go right to her, And I would call her in the middle of class, her or Dr. Aguinaldo. And I'm not joking. I'm being very serious. I just say, ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute. I have to make a phone call and everybody laughs. And I'll tell them to work in groups. And then when I figure it out, or she'll actually come into the class, or Dr. Aguinaldo will come into the class. So again, I'm using that as an example because if your students see that you're willing and you're trying and you're human, just like them, it won't become a big deal. It won't be a problem. They'll be like, okay, at least they're trying. Now, you don't want to make a habit out of it now. Let's be mindful of that. But move forward and try to make sure you're skilled at it. And if you don't understand something, always, always, always ask for help. Final thing I'm going to show you, and I'll give credit to Ms. Smith because she showed me how to utilize this one. You can go to Learn Zillion. Learn Zillion. Now, all of the apps that I have showed you this evening, if your school is not equipped where you have tablets and or iPads, you can utilize these on desktops or laptops or mobile phone devices. So these are apps that are used across the rim. So you just don't have to have a tablet or an iPad. Now, the cool thing with Learn Zillion is this. They have lessons already there. Yeah. You don't have to plan nothing. And guess what? The lessons are already aligned to the standards. So, yeah. So all you have to do is, hey, what standard am I looking for? Boom. Go to math, go to science, go to social studies, go to language arts, whatever content it is that you're teaching. Look for their standard, click on the standard, and a lesson pops up. Not only will a lesson pop up, look in here. It says free video lessons. Now, I like showing videos, whether it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, because, again, we got to remember the population that we're working with. Population we're working with, they don't want to hear your voice all day long when you teach. So you got to put some other thing in. So just looking at videos. So, let's see. Solving problems. Let's click on this one. Skip counting. So here we go. We're going to learn how to skip count.
How do you quickly count all of these pennies? In this lesson, you will learn how to skip count by 5s and 10s by using a number line. Let's review. Skip count by 2s by skipping over the next number on the number line. Start at 0 and count on 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's review again by finding patterns.
Now, again, the cool thing about this is they have short video clips, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, some longer, depending on what kind it is content that is being taught. After you have them watch the video clip, you can actually click in and go to the lesson and actually have them do the lesson. You can have them work independently, you can have them work in pairs, or you can have them work in small groups. It's up to you how you do it. All you have to do, once you create an account, you can create a class, and then you can assign work within that class. Now, of course, you know if you buy the app, you get to do more things when you buy it. But there's a lot of things that you can do with the free version as well. So the one thing I want us to keep in mind is that when we're integrating technology into the classroom, it's purposeful and you're planning. It's not something you're doing sporadically. It's not something spontaneous. You just actually have a plan of action on how you want to integrate technology so that you can enhance what it is that you're doing in the classroom. And really make it more hands-on, more engaging, rather than us just utilizing this, like I said, to just, hey, I got an iPad. But if you have one and you're not using it, it's not doing you any good. So practice, practice, practice. Make sure that you become one with 1 or 2 apps and use this interview technique that I'm teaching you. If you have the opportunity to shine, and everybody's not like Dr. Smith, but I tell you, whenever I have an opportunity to shine, I'm going to do exactly that. So I'm going to make sure. Let's say, for example, you all were my interview panel, and there was no technology, and I saw that, and I would be like, I know that your school is looking to integrate technology, so let me show you this cool app that you can utilize in the classroom. And everybody's eyes would get like your eyes, and then I would go about it. And again, If there was no air server, I would say I would like all of us to come together like we're one big happy family, and I'm going to demonstrate how we use this. And that's all you have to do. Use the skill sets that you already have to capitalize off what you're doing so that you can make sure that you're conducive. And what you're doing in your classroom is going to work. It's going to be beneficial to you, and it's going to be beneficial to your students. Because if what you're doing is not conducive to the teaching and learning process, you're not only wasting your time, but you're wasting your students' time. So technology, embrace it, appreciate it, and utilize it to enhance what you're doing in your classroom so that you can be the bomb diggity. Any questions? Thank you, Lex.
Thank you. Let's give her a round of So, I don't know if you want to say your email. If you guys have any questions, you can email her about anything. I know Carrie took the minutes, and we'll send those out about the apps that she used if you have any questions. Just a couple things to go over. Make sure you are a member by November 1st. And once you become a member, if you could email me your member number, there's some way, I haven't figured out yet, how to get your member number when you're on the website, but normally when they send you emails, it'll be in the top right-hand corner. If you could just email me that. Also, if you have any suggestions for guest speakers for next semester, come up. We're kind of looking at it now, so if people want a certain person or somebody to come talk, we'll try to get them. And if you sign this paper for a t-shirt, I have a couple extra mediums, so if you have your $12 and you want it now, you can come get it. If not, I'm going to put this order in tomorrow, and they should be in by next week. So